Europe's push to secure its own uranium and critical mineral supply is accelerating, and Sweden is suddenly back in the conversation. District Metals believes its Viken project could sit at the center of that shift, with one of the largest undeveloped uranium resources in the world, alongside vanadium and other strategic metals. But geology is only part of the story. Regulation, capital, and timing may matter just as much. And that's why I'm joined by Gareth Ainsworth, President and CEO of District Metals. Gareth, thanks very much indeed for coming and talking to us.
Thank you, Devin. Great to be with you today.
Well, look, for viewers just discovering District Metals, let's just have this curtain raiser first, right? What exactly is Viken? How large is it in global terms? And why does it matter strategically to Europe right now?
Yeah, so the Viken deposit, we did an updated NI 43-101 mineral resource estimate in April of 2025. It showed in the inferred category about 4.3 billion tons of resource that contained 1.5 billion pounds of uranium and 24.3 billion pounds of vanadium. It also has potash, 160 million tons of potash. Those are the three main pillars within the Viken deposit itself. It's a black shale type deposit. It's very unique. You don't find it everywhere around the world. It's very unique to Sweden. There's some in Norway. It also a little bit comes into Estonia as well. But it is the largest undeveloped uranium deposit in the world, or also known as the second largest uranium deposit in the world after BHP's Olympic Dam. And now this is very important for Sweden and also for the EU, because obviously there's a lot of geopolitical turmoil going on. And I can say some of that definitely started when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Now a lot of countries are looking to secure domestic supplies of important and critical raw materials. I would say uranium's not critical yet. It could be added this year, but it's a very important energy metal. And Sweden, meanwhile, is building out 10 more nuclear reactors by 2045, or so they say they plan to do. So making sure that they're not getting the fuel for those reactors from bad actors, I think, is very important for Sweden and the EU.
Yeah. Look, you've been running advanced surveys across your Swedish properties, right? I mean, what have you learned so far that genuinely changes the scale or potential of the story?
Yeah, so we, in the last year, we flew this survey called the Mobile MT survey.
Yeah,
it's fairly new technology. I think it really became available in 2017 or 2019, and I'm a geologist by training, a uranium geologist by training. A lot of my background is working in the Athabasca Basin for high grade uranium, making discoveries there. This Mobile MT survey mapped out the alum shale better than I've seen any airborne geophysical survey do. And the reason why that happened is because the alum shales have a lot of graphite in them, which is very conductive, and the surrounding rocks are not conductive. So it really stands out. And it's important for us to map out the alum shale because, we want to find the alum shale where it's shallow and where it's thick. And this Mobile MT survey tells us both. So we've got nine Mobile MT targets within the Viken property itself, and then we have another 15 high priority Mobile MT targets on our alum shale properties that we plan to drill this year.
I got to ask you, how are you balancing uranium with the broader basket of metals at Viken, vanadium, nickel, for example, especially as you mentioned earlier, given Europe's critical minerals agenda?
So I think from the market's view, the uranium is the most important metal within our alum shale, within our Viken deposit. What I think is very interesting is, there's potential to produce uranium from the Viken deposit or other alum shale deposits at a very low or no OPEX cost because of the vanadium that's there supporting it, and also the potash as well. There's other metals, molybdenum, nickel, copper, zinc. There's potential for rare earth elements that have never really been looked into.
Yep.
And one thing I will add is in the last uranium cycle, 2005 to 2008, work that was being done on the Viken deposit, it ran into some issues with metallurgy, and there's been huge advances in metallurgical processes over the last 20 years. Many of them related to recoveries of lithium and rare earth element ores. So this has a lot of applicability for the Viken deposit and shows much better potential for metallurgical recoveries.
And then Garrett, I got to ask, investors are far more disciplined in this cycle, right? You may have noticed that. What does your capital strategy look like as you move into your next phase of drilling and studies?
Yeah, I would say the discipline of investors right now is an important point, and I think it also indicates that we're really kind of early on in the cycle, in this commodity cycle, which is great. I think it starts getting a bit wild near the end of these commodity cycles, which we don't want to see. It's not good when capital gets thrown around in a irresponsible manner. But our key in terms of how we manage our finances and share registry, we're always looking to add very sophisticated investors with all the financings that we've done. There's a very, very well-known mining family that's involved, in the last 3 financings that we've had. There's very large funds from Canada, USA, also within Europe, and high net worth and funds contribute the highest percentage of our share registry. And we'll continue to, talk with those groups and hopefully get supported by them going forward.
Now, you touched on this earlier. Sweden consistently ranks as a top mining jurisdiction, but uranium has been politically sensitive, right? What's your read on government sentiment right now?
Yeah, so in late 2022, the government came in as a center-right coalition. They said they were going to lift the uranium ban and they were going to remove the municipal veto. They as of January 1st, 2026, they have lifted the uranium ban, so we're free and clear to explore and develop our uranium properties. And then on February 4th, they announced they're going to remove the municipal veto on processing of uranium ore, which is good. They're doing what they said they were going to do. They also announced that they're going to do an inquiry or investigation into alum shales, which is the host rock for our Viken deposit, in terms of seeing if a new municipal veto should be applied to mining of alum shales. So that happened on February 4th and 5th. The share price did go down on that news. It created some uncertainty, but it definitely needs to be understood. We are in an election year in Sweden. So the election in Sweden is coming up in September. There already has been an investigation done 6 years ago in 2020 on alum shales, and the results of that showed that there's no greater risk associated with mining alum shales compared to mining any other type of mineral deposit in Sweden. And also on this, we should find out whether the Viken deposit is designated a deposit of national interest within the first half of this year. Yeah. And that's very important. If we get that designation, then it really shows that the state wants your deposit to move forward. So all very positive things. And my thoughts on the share price going down is it was an overreaction, but we're just going to have to keep building from there. We've got some really exciting catalysts coming up.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about as we wrap up here, Garrett. I mean, District Metals, its position over the next 12 to 24 months. Tell us what you see: exploration story, development candidate, or something bigger.
We've got both. We are exploration and development. Right now we're working on our preliminary economic assessment for the Viken deposit. We plan on having that out within the second quarter of this year. Once that's done, then we'll also start a economic impact study that we'll look to have out in the third quarter, and that just follows up on the PA results, giving taxes that will be generated from a potential mining scenario, jobs created directly, indirectly. So those two economic studies will be critical for us to get out.
Yeah.
And then we've already submitted all of our drill permit applications for the Viken property, also for our Lumshell properties, and hopefully we'll be drilling those starting in late Q2 of this year and going into Q3. And then in Q3, we'll be flying some more airborne mobile MT surveys and covering our Lumshell properties, about 72,000 hectares of land there. And then we'll also be doing some field work, so prospecting, sampling, mapping of 3 projects that are not to Lumshell. So they're higher grade uranium, lower tonnage. That's Ardnasvarre, Sockjarn, and Nineforce. And then results will be coming in from drilling, airborne surveys, and from our field work within Q3 and Q4. So it's going to be a really busy year.
Yeah, and it does sound compelling indeed. Well, look, thanks very much. Gareth Ainsworth is the President, CEO of District Metals. Gareth, thanks indeed for your time.
Hey, thanks very much.